All right. Well, hi, everyone. I think it should be recording now. Hi, welcome to tonight's YOLO International event. I know we're going to be having more people that join us. A couple things before we get started with tonight's event. I want to make sure that you all go to the YOLO International page, our Facebook page. We have our monthly newsletter that is in there. So if you would like to go ahead and see, we have, I know Lori, she did a great article for the newsletter this month. We have everybody whose anniversary it is with the Juice Plus company. We have all of our promotions, well, as many we could find that everybody sent in. We also have a welcome letter. We're also honoring a team member of ours, unfortunately, who passed away unexpectedly, and just his wife is now actually part of the team. So you guys can see how we can support that. We're here to obviously celebrate the wonderful moments of team and community, and also just to be with each other during the tough times. So my name's Loren Lahav. We had an amazing month, one of the best months ever. When in my 13 years, it's been just fabulous. And the world really needs us now, more than ever. People are looking for, one, passion for something that they love to do. People have had an opportunity to kind of reset, reevaluate, and look at really what's most important to them. I think now people all don't look so crazy anymore about working from home, right? People are like, oh, this is kind of a gift. Or people are like, oh, maybe I shouldn't just take my health for granted. And I also think it's beautiful because tonight's call with Deb and Lily is about working together, mother-daughter team, which I love. As you know, Joss and I work our businesses. We're a mother-son team with regards to it. But I always like to say, Lily, I don't know how old you are, and Deb, I don't know how old you are, but I always say that, every 50, I'm 55, but every 50-year-old mom has a 20-year-old, most, 50-year-old moms have a 20-year-old kid. And so you get a double whammy with the opportunity to have this kind of mother-daughter team. I know that Linda's daughters are looking forward to when they get to be 18 so that they can work their business with their mama. And just seeing some of the mothers that have been in our business and started, like I started the business when Josh was 11 years old. I didn't in any way think that he was going to meet his future wife through this, through this beautiful mission, but that's what's happened, right? And so it's kind of like a gift that keeps giving. With regards to it. So first of all, once again, want to congratulate all of the promotions that have happened around the world. We have team, as you guys know, in over 25 of the countries and growing into Mexico now. This month, I think we had over $150,000 in bonuses that were paid just to people within the YOLO team around the world. How amazing is that? I know that I think about that and I'm like, oh, I love when people, get that extra bonus. And we didn't have bonuses when I got started in the business, but to think if you were an individual business owner and that you could pay $150,000 in bonuses, what that would feel like. And I kind of think about, oh my God, that's so cool. And that it didn't have to come from you, it's the company that's behind it all, those bonuses. So you. All right, good. So there was, like I said, like $150,000 in bonuses that were just paid out within this organization. So very exciting, and across all those 26 different countries. I think in Australia alone, they had almost $90,000 in bonuses that were paid out. So that's, wow, amazing. And remember, there's opportunities literally just in bonuses. You're not limited to how many people that you can help get to QSC or to SC. Think about all of those things that you can help as many people as possible that you really want. So tonight's call is really all about working together. Jay always says, find a buddy. And I know that I'd love if Lily and Deb, that they can share a little bit of their story. So I'm going to pass on over to you just to share a little bit of your story. And then I'll come back for another question. So Lily.
Hello. So I started in the business in April, because that was when I turned 18. And, it was kind of one of those things that for some reason, I wasn't really excited about. Obviously, I was excited about being able to go out, and then obviously COVID put a bit of a stop to that really quickly. But the next thing that I was super excited about after turning 18 was being able to join the business, and especially join the business with my mum. I've watched in awe of my mum for a little while now. She's been doing the business for 4 years, and you'll hear a little bit about her journey, but I've watched on from the sidelines as her biggest supporter. I've gone to the events, and, you know, I've sat in the back of the lounge room while mum's on her training, and I'm like, wow, this is so cool. And like, I just saw the happiness and the joy and everything that it brought to our family. And it wasn't just mum, like, it was our family. We went on holidays, and, you know, there was more time that mum could say, okay, I can take this day off work and I can come to the school event that she would normally have to miss out on, or, you know, all those little things. And even for my sister and I, we were still so young, but we were still noticing all of those little changes and how much they were affecting the big picture in so many ways. So, you know, I knew that if this was something that I could start at 18, imagine in a couple of years when, you know, I'm ready to start my own family and have my own kids, imagine all the extra free time and all of the extra holidays and fun that I'll get to have with my family down the track. And now I've sort of, you know, really worked out that this is what I'm going to work towards. I'm working in hospitality, and I love the social aspect, and it's a fun environment to work in, but it definitely has its downsides. You know, I'm giving up my weekends and nights, and once COVID's over, I will want to go out and hang out with my friends, and I'm not going to be able to do that as much if I'm continuing to work and give away my weekends and nights for hospitality. So, you know, this is something I really love.
That's so awesome. So you said what was really driving you was watching your mother over the past 4 years. So was there a defining moment where you said, yeah, I really want to do this? Like, where you went from being like, oh my gosh, what is my mom doing, to like, I really want to be a part of that? Was there anything that was a shift for you?
I think it was definitely as I got older. You know, like when I was younger, I was kind of a bit like, what is this that mum's doing? But as I got older, I had a lot more of an appreciation for the business and the whole movement behind Juice Plus, and the mission that everyone is on. And I just loved seeing how happy it was making my mum. You know, like, she'd go into work at the pub, and she'd always have to miss things, like I said, and then she'd come home and get on an event, and like, you'd just see her face light up watching everyone and, you know, working together. So I think it was definitely the shift in my mum's, you know, outlook on everything from joining the business. I think that's definitely what it was.
And as an 18-year-old, what do you see the possibilities as with regards to Juice Plus? Or like, when you find yourself talking to people that are your age? Do you find yourself talking to those that are a little bit older, or talking about to moms and daughters? Or what do you see for yourself, Lily?
Well, at the moment, like, I've really, really looked up to, I know that Sophie Hughes she's no longer doing it, but like, I really, really looked up to her for a really long time. And, you know, the business bombshells and the massive, big, beautiful team that she had. And same with people like Ange and Loren Berry and Ange Simpson. Like, I just love the whole, you know, everything that they're trying to create, and the empowering. So I hope down the track I'll have my own big, beautiful team for myself of just younger ladies who are on, you know, the same journey as me.
Yeah. I know that for Joss, his fiance Danielle, they're the Limitless Girls, and I just love the name of it, because it's like, there's this feeling. And I think just this month in their team in Australia, they just went a QSSC, and they had 6 qualifiers over there. Like you said, they're just young girls that are passionate and love it, and just creating a community of like-minded people. So Deb, love to know a little bit about just your backstory, what you're loving about working together with your daughter, and what you see. So let's hear a little bit about your story.
Hey, Lauren. Thank you for having us on. It's so lovely to see that we can connect internationally while everything is so disconnected. So thank you very much for having us. To give you a little idea, Lil mentioned it a bit, but I've been a hotel manager and in hospitality for my entire working career. So as a wife and a mum, I've only ever been a part-time mum and a part-time wife. I was a very full-time and am very full-time at work, but I kind of just thought that was the way it was meant to be. You know, I grew up in a family where there wasn't a great deal of money. Mum was a widow and had 6 kids. So she stayed at home, but it meant that she stayed at home with very little money, and we never missed out on anything as far as love and safety was concerned. But certainly mum struggled my whole life that I grew up, and I just didn't want that for my kids. I wanted my kids to see that if they wanted, we could do things together without having to say no all the time. So I thought to do that, I had to work full time. And I definitely did. I was doing 50, 60 and sometimes 70-hour weeks in hospitality because I'm really dedicated to the industry. I think it's a great industry for lots of reasons. But what I didn't like to admit at the time, and I only see now that this has kind of opened my eyes, is that I put my family on the back burner, and that's a really, really sad realization. So all of those times crying when my kids were crying at the door, or I had to let my mother-in-law tell me about the first step that they'd just taken, or I didn't get to be there when the tooth fairy was, in the mornings when the tooth fairy came. I kind of convinced myself it was okay. But really, 4 years ago, my beautiful friend, cousin, Missy, introduced me to this just because at the time my husband was having some health issues, and she knew I was looking for a way to help him. And then she mentioned that there was a business behind it. And so I honestly was never looking for anything else. I thought that I was going to be pouring beer and smiling at happy patrons for the rest of my life. And it was one event that I watched and my life changed. Literally, it was like the light bulb went on. My heart just stopped at the idea of not being that person that was going to work until 75 and miss out on more special time with her kids and their kids and my husband. And I was so grateful for that very day. And so I guess the last 4 years have been enlightening to me for lots of reasons. I've cried I've cried regretfully for what I've lost with my kids, but I've also smiled a lot in the last 4 years because now I know that it's the opportunity for me to turn stuff around. I can't change yesterday, but I can certainly make tomorrow more connected with my family than what it would have been. So yeah, it's a pretty cool
so what happened?
industry.
I'm sure I think everybody's sitting here going, what happened at that one moment, that one meeting? And I think that for people to realize, like, that one meeting, like you being, we always say, you hear something, you're like, that 1 second, it could be that one thing that transforms your life. What happened at that meeting
well, like I said, I wasn't looking. I was actually, my cousin, because she loves me so much, nagged me. She's like, Debbie, have you watched the event? Debbie, have you watched the event? Debbie, have you watched the event? And I'm like, oh, bloody hell, if I don't watch this event, she's going to keep sending me messages. So I really need to watch the event. And immediately what I saw, and like I said, I wasn't looking for anything, but I just saw these people who had vibrance in their face. They had hope. Adam was there. He'd been talking about how he'd worked his tail off for like his whole life and the 9 years he was in business, and he just didn't have time freedom. And I'm like, bloody hell, that's me. And then I saw the opportunity, and I'm like, if they can do this, then why can't I? And it was actually midnight because I'd finished work, and I texted my best friend and I said, I've got no idea what I've just watched, but whatever it is, I know it's going to change my life, and I want you to watch it too. And that was it. I just saw how real people were, and I saw hope. I had very sadly given up on hope. I thought that my lot was just to work for the rest of my life, and that's not the case.
Yeah, so funny. I mean, it's not funny, but I literally, and I don't probably wouldn't mention, I just came from I'm in my hometown. I came here for just a couple days, and when I'm here, I always go to the cemetery to see my dad, to pay respect to my dad. And my dad, it was interesting you said that number, because my dad was 75. My dad had literally, his whole thing was like, I'm going to, once I retire, I'm going to go do all these things. And it literally was just a couple months before he sold his practice, and then he passed away. And I think, like you said, there's so many people that there's all these things that we talk about, the things that we're going to go do, but we get so busy working, and like when I was talking to the lady, just talking about all of the things where we would stay after school because my dad had to work, or, we had to stay with the nuns until they, and go to like a mass until whenever, and then it would be dark, and then we never had dinner at home together, and all of those things that come up. And like you said, like you think about all the things that really are possible now. with regards to your kids. So tell me what it's like for you. I mean, I know for me and my son, what would you say to mom daughters that are looking to work together or do this together? What would you say about that?
Do you know what? I'll tell you something. When I first started this, my sister joined my business. My best friend joined my business. My sister-in-law joined my business because they were all like, well, if you're getting rich, I want to too. Don't leave me behind while you get rich. And I'm like, it was so exciting. I had an amazing start to my business. But then they didn't have the belief, and so they kind of dropped away. And so having team in your family and your team can be the greatest blessing, but it can also be really challenging because you want it for them, and I was just like, why can't they see it? I don't get it. I've in 4 years never considered anything except striving forward in this business, whereas they gave up. They just were like, that's okay, it's not for me. And I just couldn't believe that, so it kind of rattled me for a while.
Let me ask you a question about that. What are your beliefs? What are your beliefs? Because I think that's a big thing. We talk about like really managing that inner world. And like you said, like my eldest, once again, he has total belief, but my middle one, he's like, oh, maybe not, mom. But what are your beliefs that make you so unshakable over these past 4 years? Because I think there are people on the call right now, or people that they all know that maybe they want it, but they don't have that unshakable belief.
Yeah, I did. So my belief is that this is the way to, for me to be able to retire by the time I'm 50, to work full time in this by the time I'm 50. My belief is that this industry and this profession is second to none. My industry belief is, my company belief is 100% rock solid, because I've seen it in J Martin, I've seen it in Celine Egan, I've seen it in you, I've seen it in Linda, I've seen it in Adam and Loren. And to be completely honest, I've seen it in myself. So I had to do a little bit of homework on it. I watched a few, like Rise of the Entrepreneur, Eric Worre, GoPro. Like I did a little bit of study. Like I knew that going from being a hospitality professional to a network marketing professional was going to take some study. So I did it. Instead of listening to music, I listened to podcasts. Instead of listening to, the news, I turned that off and I would get on training. So I had this belief that this is the only way that I'm going to be able to live my dreams and make up for what I missed out on with my girls. I'm going to spend that time with their girls and their sons. I'm not going to do that working through grandchild kind of stage that I see people do now. And this industry is the only way I see that. So the industry belief came from study, came from, informing myself.
Yeah, I love it. And I love that. And then what about you, Lily? What about your belief and why you're so rock solid? You've kind of like infused it from your mother, I think, but what would you say for yourself?
I think, just because I've seen so much success in this business, and I don't know, I just look up to so many other people that are in this company and really, really, really strive towards what they're working towards. And because I've seen it in so many other people's lives, and the changes that the business can make, that's why I just really know that this is exactly what I want to work towards as well. And following
Loren,
in my footsteps.
Yes.
Loren, can I just add? So the fact that I lost my sister out of the business and my sister-in-law and stuff, that was really sad for them. But I kind of feel like I can't change that. But what has been my biggest change and my game changer was 4 months ago, my daughter came to me and said, I want to join the business. And I could have knocked me over with a feather. What happened was I realized I had one true believer. Out of all the beautiful team I've had over the last 4 years and all of the amazing customers, it was my one true believer. And I've had people say, this is amazing, I want to do it with you, but I've never made it. No, I never attempted to get Lil to join my business because I just didn't really even consider it, to be honest. Yeah. Whether it's because I was upset with my sister and all the others not being in my team any longer, or I just didn't feel like it was right. But when Lily said, I've seen this in you, I honestly, it just brought my heart back to the space where I knew it needed to be for me to, and I thought, shit, if I give up, I'm giving up on her. And I can't do that.
Wow. And that's what it is, right? It's like watching the feet, not the lips, right? with regards to it. And that's so beautiful. And you know what? They might come back around. You know, my brother, I think it's still been 13 years. He still, you know, looks at me and he still works his crazy jobs and knows what I'm able to create, knows that he could. But like you said, like you just need one person to believe in you. But, you know, with regards to it, knowing your daughter, I mean, think of the impact that you're going to make together with, what is your vision for yourself, Lily? What do you hope to see through this business? Creating your own unique, because here's what I will tell you, you know, there's a lot of people that come and go, but those that stay, you know, create legacies with regards to everything. So what is the legacy that you see for yourself creating, Lily?
I don't know. Actually, now that I think about it, it'd be really cool for like mum and I to like do like professional speaking or like do a podcast or something like that. Like mum and daughter in business. That'd be so cool. I was just like picturing it in my head. Then I was like, wow, imagine being on like a big stage with my mum and like doing a big speech or I don't know. That'd be cool.
That's awesome. I love it. And inspiring other mother daughters for sure. Right. And especially right now, especially because mother and daughters, a lot of mother daughters are together, you know, not being able to go back to school or not being able to do all of those things. I mean, think about how right now could be such great timing to really get that message out there, you know? What about for you, Deb?
Me?
Yeah.
To be able to make the choices. I think when I first started this and Adam said to me, why do you want to do this? I'm like, I want to quit. I don't want to work anymore. I want to be at home with my babies. I want to do this. And which was so true because that's what I saw straight away. I'm like, this could be my ticket out of here. But what that did was it set my expectations much higher than what were actually achievable very early on. And so when I didn't achieve that, I felt really lost and like a failure, which is not how anyone wants to feel. I've not, you know, I wouldn't set my heights so high again. Much more achievable goals. So now my anticipation is that I'll work until our youngest daughter is graduated, which is 5 years. That will give me, I'll be nearly 50, not quite 50, and I can say to people I work full time and earn more in my spare time gig, you know, than I do full time. And then in 5 years, we want to be able to travel. I want to travel with my husband. He's got a couple of years on me, so if I need to get him out of the workforce as well, and you know, just so that we can spend time as a family instead of having to stress about money all the time, you know. So in short term, it just means that the extra money I earn from this, I get to spoil my family and we get to spend more time together doing quality stuff, you know. Instead of on my days off, we have to stay home and watch our money. We get to go out and have lunch and go out and do shopping sprees. Lil and I went on a shopping spree after our last pay because she had a great month, I had a great month. We took our other little lady out and we spoiled her as well. So, you know, stuff like that was not stuff my mum got to do. Mum died when she was 58. Dad was 42. I have to live the life that they didn't get to live. And I can't do that when I'm working 60 hours a week, pouring beers and putting up with people and earning just a base wage. I can't do that. And you know what else, Loren? I don't want my kids to see that they have to settle. I settled for too long already and they don't need to do that. They get to choose. They get to set their standards higher. So that's, you know, our goal.
I'm so proud of you. You know, I'm sitting here because I think you must have started when you were 42. How old were you when you started in the business?
No, I'm not quite 42 yet. Actually, I don't know my age. I started 4 years ago, so I must have been 38.
Oh my gosh, you're a baby.
Yeah.
I didn't start the business until I was almost 43. So
right.
42. I was almost 42. So you've got many years ahead of me, you know, and I'm sitting here and I was, you know, when we came in this business, we were, you know, gone through the recession and now I'm sitting here in a home that the Juice Plus built. You know, we've been able to buy investment properties and literally sitting in our home in one of our homes in North Carolina. So you're way far ahead of me and you've got such a great, you know, your buddy beside you and super excited to see. I know that those that were on the call, I know there's a couple mamas that are on the call who have teenagers who are probably thinking right now, oh my gosh, maybe I should kind of, you know, talk to them a little bit more. What would you say to Lily? What would your final words be to those mamas who are on that want to know how they could maybe see how they're, you know, to work with this with their daughter, what would you say to them?
Really just like show them that this is something that could definitely be the rest of your life sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think that, like my mom said, the fact that she didn't hound me and be like, come on, you have to do this, like this is what you have to do, and I sort of just saw it for myself. I think that was the most important part of the whole
Watch the feet, not the lips, like I said earlier, right? Like when you saw it and you're like, I always say that I want to be the hero that my kids seek in the world. I don't want them to have to look for anybody else, but they go, that's my mom, right? Then my daughter looks at me and she goes, oh, my mom's the bombshells, right? And it is. So, well, thank you so much. We have a lot of people in Europe, a lot of people that are still at work, you know, because it's only 5:30 in the US. But thank you so much. We'll be putting this on in our YouTube channel as well as in the group. And I just look forward to seeing you all again soon and seeing you on stage. You get to the United States, we'll have you on stage for sure. So, all right. Thank you guys. Have a great one.
Thanks, ladies.